Hey y'all, it's Katie. Well, welcome back to From My Vanity. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to check out this video. And today I'm going to be collaborating with Gianna, who is AllThingsPure27 here on YouTube. We've collaborated once in the past. I'll go ahead and throw our video up into the cards here if you want to check out that video. But today is a really neat and very different kind of collab that I'm super excited to be putting together with her. So towards the beginning of the year, I was sent this Galactic Eyes from Hard Candy, and when I showed it on my Instagram stories, let me see if I can, there we go. Open it up. I was showing it on my Instagram stories. I swatched a couple and I was like, oh, this looks pretty nice. It looks pretty promising. When I had seen it in just the press release, it looked like a lot of pressed glitters, and that worried me of like how patchy they would be, or if they would be like very Vaseline-y and kind of sparse and like not much glitter payoff. So when I got it in hand, I was like, oh, this looks really nice, and I was showing it on my Instagram stories, and Gianna had commented on that story and was like, hey, you know what that looks like? She was like, that kind of looks like the Moondust child from Urban Decay. And I'll go ahead and stick a picture up here. Let me scoot over. But I'll go ahead and stick a picture up here so you guys can see the Moondust palette, and then this one a little, let's see if I can get it below it. And when she said that, I was like, oh, you know, you are so right. It really does. Like, there's a little bit of differences, but just kind of, just first glance, I feel like it really does look like the Urban Decay Moondust palette. And so she was like, well, hey, do you want to do kind of like a dupe video? Because I own the Moondust palette and you have the Hard Candy one. She's like, we could each do our own video. We could each do our own look using the same kind of shadows and stuff like that. And then we could link to each other, and that way you guys can watch my video and then go watch her video, and you can kind of see them side by side as much as we could make it, since neither of us own the other palette. But that way we could do a collab video so you guys can determine if you think these are dupes or not. So anyway, I thought that was such a neat idea, kind of a neat spin on duping a palette, and I was all in for it. I was like, yes, let's do it. And I know it's taken a while because I got this at the beginning of the year, but you know, our schedules were just very busy. And then honestly, I'll admit right now, I dropped the ball and totally forgot about it for a couple months, and then we just picked it back up recently. And so today we're finally bringing you that video that we've been talking about since pretty much the beginning of the year. So yeah, just to run through what we're going to be doing in this video, I am going to be doing a tutorial with this, creating this eye look that you see on my eyes today. I'm going to be using this in conjunction with the Modern Renaissance palette. I'm using the mattes from this one mostly, and then I'm using two shades, these two on either end, here and here, for my eye look today. And then after we do the eye tutorial, we'll come back and we'll do some swatches, and I'm going to swatch all of these on my arm and do them in various ways to give you guys an idea of the quality of this. And Gianna is going to be doing the same thing with her Moondust palette. She's going to do an eye tutorial, the same kind of look that I have. We're both using the same Modern Renaissance palette with the same matte shadows, and then she's going to use the kind of equivalent of these two shadows in her Moondust palette to create an eye tutorial. And then after that, she's going to be doing the swatches the same way I do. So if you watch my video and you watch her, you're going to get a good feel for if you think that this Hard Candy Galactic Eyes is a dupe for the Urban Decay Moondust palette or not. So yeah, I think that is everything I wanted to mention before we get into the tutorial. At the very end of the video, I'll kind of sum up and give you my thoughts on this palette. This is not going to be a review for the Galactic Eyes, but it's going to be pretty much my first impression, and at the end of it I'll explain why I'm not going to be like fully reviewing this product. But anyway, all that to say, let's just get right into the tutorial and we can talk more in a minute. Alright, so I just primed with the LORAC Behind the Scenes eyeshadow primer, and now I'm going to take the Naked Skin and put that over my eyes just to kind of cancel out and give myself a really good base to apply the shadows with. Alright, so I'm just going to take Tempera and put that on as my like brow bone highlight. Alright, now I want to take Bon Fresco and put that into my crease. Now I'm going to take Venetian Red, I think, and I'm going to use that in my outer corner and then kind of blend it up into my crease a little bit. And all the brushes I'm going to leave linked down below in the order that I use them. Alright, so I'm going to just take a little bit more Bon Fresco and blend that and kind of mesh the two. I like how they look, but I just want a little bit more blending. Alright, so now I'm going to take the NBA Cosmetics Glitter Foil on Line FX, and I'm going to put that all, pretty much almost the entire length of my eyes. I'll probably stop right here just because I'm going to be using these and I really want to make sure they stick. Alright, so now I'm going to take this shade right here. I think it's called Meteor. I think I'm just going to use my finger. Yeah, I'm just gonna use my finger and see how that goes.
Now we won't go back home today, until the very last.
All right, and then taking that pinky shade, which is, I believe it's called Constellation, this one. And I'm gonna put that on the rest of it. I'm gonna try it on an e.l.f. brush. We'll see, I might have to go in with my finger. Yeah, the brush is not doing much. We'll see if I can just build it up. I'm gonna use my finger. Do you guys see how like wrinkly it's making my eyelid? It reminds me of the Shop Hush glitter metallic shadows. Not crazy about that. Okay, so then I'm just gonna go back into that pink shade and use it to blend, and I'm gonna just use on my finger because brushes really don't do much. Let me double check, because this shade that I use a brush is definitely chunky. The pink isn't as chunky, so let me see how it works with a brush. Yeah. If you're wanting to pack the color on so you see it, finger's definitely the way to go. But since I'm just wanting to blend this line, I'll use a brush because I think that's working nicely. All right, so then I'm just going to do this eye and I'll be right back. Glitter fallout like crazy. All right, now I'm just gonna go back in and put a bit of that Venetian red into the outer corners just to build up a little bit, and I'm not gonna go any farther with that. I wanna keep the outer corner pretty soft. I don't wanna make it too like smoky. All right, so I'm just gonna put on some winged liner and mascara and I'll be right back. All right, so I'm gonna take the Venetian red and blend that underneath my lash line. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of Bon Fresco, and blend that out. And then as the last step, I'm just going to take the mirror and use that as my inner corner highlight. Alright, so I have a ton of fallout. My face feels like a glitter balm. I don't know if you can see, but it's almost so bad I need to wash my face. So let me go get something to clean it up. And then once I do that, I am just going to finish up my makeup and then we can come back to talk about it.
Now we won't go back home today, until the very last hour.
Alright, so this is the completed look. As you guys can see, I just finished it off with a pretty simple face, just some foundation, powder, contour, blush, and my highlight. If you can see, look at that duochromeness, it's really pretty, but I thought it was appropriate since I was using the pinks from this palette. I used the Smashbox and Vlada. It was the highlighter that was exclusive to Sephora. I can't remember the name, I'll put it here on the screen, but I used that palette because it had a pink shift, and it's really pretty, but you can't really see unless I'm looking like this. So anyway, and then for my lips, I use the NARS, what is this called? Velvet Lip Glide in Bound for my lips. So at this time, let's go ahead and just jump into the swatches. I'm just going to be using my arm, but I'm going to be swatching them 5 different ways. Each shadow 5 different ways. I'm going to be swatching them with my finger. I'm going to be swatching them with a brush, which I'll be using the e.l.f. eyeshadow brush, the $1. And in between that, I will be cleaning it with the Ulta Beauty New Hue color switching pan or shadow hue switching pan, whatever it's called. So yeah, with my finger, with a brush. Then I'm going to use a brush and spritz it with Fix Plus and apply it. And then I'm going to lay down some glitter glue and apply it with my finger on top of the glitter glue and with a brush on top of the glitter glue. So those are going to be 5 different ways that you're going to see these shadows perform. And as I said, Gianna's going to be doing the exact same thing on her video so that you can see kind of side by side the quality of each of these shadows. Oh, I did want to say that I'm going to be using the NYX Glitter Primer. I really do like this primer. I've only ever used 2 different types of glitter primers, this one and the NBA Cosmetics one. I like the NBA Cosmetics one a little bit more, which is why I'm using this, so I won't mind wasting it because I'm going to be using a lot of it to do all these shadows. So yeah, let's just go ahead and jump right into the arm swatches.
All night, bling, bling, 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 all night, bling, bling.
so there are the swatches. You guys can really kind of see the quality, or not even just the quality, but how it is best to use this Galactic Eyes palette. Just in the course of the tutorial, I'm sure as you guys have seen, I think it's best to apply with your fingers and with some type of glitter glue to really make it stick. I did want to go ahead and give my first impressions on this. I know I never do first impressions really, but I'm not going to be reviewing this palette, and honestly I think the best way to explain why is to give you my first impressions. I have been wearing this eyeshadow for 4 to 5 hours at this point, and I know you can't really see it here, and even if I got up close, I don't know if you'd be able to see it, but it's something I can see in person. But it's very, it reminds me of the Bad Habit shimmers in that it's very thick, and it kind of like accentuate the lines in my eyelid, and not even accentuate, but it almost creates them and makes it look like it's very dry and cracky. That's the word. It's like very cracky and crinkly on my eye, which is not very flattering, I think. I mean, I've tried many metallic shadows that look beautiful on the eyes and don't make it look like you're 500 years old on your eyelid. So I'm not the biggest fan of how that looks, but not only that, as I said, I've been wearing it for 5 hours, and there's some areas where I've noticed it's flaked off and there's like patches. Now it's not anything very noticeable, so it doesn't look bad if you're like talking to me and stuff like that, but if I get up close in a mirror, I can see it and it bothers me. But not only that, I now have all that fallout on my face, so I'm very glowy today. Even with a glitter glue, this isn't holding up at all, and for that reason alone, I don't want to sit here and put this all to the test, because honestly, if I wanted such intense metallic shadows, I would reach for my Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette and be pretty happy. I have no idea how the Moondust palette is going to perform. You're going to have to check out Gianna's video. I'm going to be checking out her video to see how it performs and just her experience from using the palette. But for me, this palette, just using it once, there's nothing in me that wants to try testing the rest of these just because of how bad this looks on my eyes. And from doing the swatches, there's not a whole lot of difference between them. It's not like these two were just the worst shadows in the palette. They all pretty much perform the same way. At this time, I don't plan to try any more looks with this. I don't have time for it. There are so many beautiful palettes in my collection. There are so many beautiful palettes I have to try that are sitting in my to try pile. I didn't like this in my first impression, and I've swatched all of them all those different ways on my arms, and I don't feel like it's going to be any different. So I'm not going to be testing it out, and my recommendation is, yes, this is affordable, but I just don't feel like it's worth it. I'd rather save up a little bit more money and get a good metallic shadow. Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. I know this video and doing it with Gianna wasn't meant to be a review or first impression, but I just felt weird doing a tutorial and not kind of mentioning my thoughts on the quality of this palette since I had such strong feelings. But anyway, that is going to wrap up this video for me. I'm going to have Gianna's video linked down below. Make sure you go watch it. I can't wait to see how her look turns out and how her swatches turn out. And if you're coming over from her channel, I hope this video was informative for you and that you enjoyed the tutorial and seeing these side by side as much as they can be in two different videos and comparing them together. But yeah, that about wraps up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you very soon in my next one. Bye guys.